I'd like to call the Onslow County Board of Commissioners regular meeting for Monday, November 3rd, 2025 to order at this time. And we'll start with our county attorney, Mr. Brett DeSalms, with the invocation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come before you and conduct the business of Onslow County. Today, as we recognize the Onslow County Council of Veteran Organizations, we ask that you bless them abundantly for the hardships they faced, for the sacrifices they made, and for their many contributions to our nation. May your blessings be upon us always. Amen. Now, with deep respect and reverence for the faiths, beliefs, and traditions of those gathered here today, join me in a moment of silence. Thank you.
Please stand and join the board in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'd like to recognize the elected officials that have joined us this morning. Mayor of town of Holly Ridge, Mr. Pete Arnian, Amiga Jarman, Register of Deeds, Rick Grant, Alderman from North Topsail Beach, and Sheriff Chris Thomas. We appreciate everyone being here with us this morning. We also ask that all in attendance this morning, please set your cell phones to silent or vibrate mode. And at this time, we need a motion to adopt this morning's agenda. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, hearing none, the agenda has been adopted. Item 2, approval items on the consent agenda. If there's any items on the consent agenda anyone would like to have removed and added to the regular agenda, will let us know at this time. If not, we'd like a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, hearing none, motion carries. We will now go to proclamations or presentations here. The first one is a proclamation for Veterans Recognition Month. Commissioner Buchanan was going to read that this morning, but he had something come up that he needed to take care of. And this morning we're going to ask Vice Chairman Knapp, who is also a veteran, to read that proclamation, and we'll be presenting that to the Onslow County Council of Veteran Organizations.
Good morning. State of North Carolina, Onslow County, Proclamation Veterans Recognition Month 2025. Whereas on Veterans Day, America pauses to honor every service member who has ever worn one of our nation's uniforms. Each time our country has come under attack, they have risen in her defense. Each time our freedom has come under assault, they have responded with resolve. And whereas, as we pay tribute to our veterans, we are mindful that no ceremony or parade can fully repay that debt. We remember that our obligations endure long after the battle ends, and we make it our mission to give them the respect and the care that they have earned. And whereas under the most demanding of circumstances and in the most dangerous corners of the earth, America's veterans have served with distinction. And whereas on Veterans Day and every day, we celebrate their immeasurable contributions, draw inspiration for their example, and renew our commitment to showing them the support of a grateful nation. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed, the Onslow County Board of Commissioners declares November as Veterans Recognition Month in Onslow County and encourages all citizens to recognize the bravery and sacrifice of our veterans through appropriate public or private ceremony and gestures. Presented this third day of November 2025, signed Tim Foster, Chairman of the Board of Commissioners. And the veterans that would accept this would please come up.
Everybody out there? Yes.
Yeah, bring them all.
Yep. Representatives from the Onslow County Council on Veteran Organizations. Are, yes.
What a bunch of oldies. Hey, Fernando, how you doing, man? Yeah, right? You get the tall guys, that's why my Ian Fernando area. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm probably in the safest part of the room in the county right now. I can guarantee you that. Hey, I just want, as a veteran myself, my dad was a veteran, my grandfather was a veteran. But not only that, I'm from a mixed family. My Korean side of the family, all of my cousins and uncles served in the Rock Marines and the Air Force, and military tradition is that, a tradition with my family for one. I'm very proud to stand here amongst all of y'all that have served our country, Marine Corps. I guess the majority of you are. Of course, I served in the right branch of service. I was in the Air Force, so I just want to. All right, I hear some of the chatter. Keep it down, okay? But, whether you serve in the Coast Guard, Marine Corps, Navy, Army, or Air Force, you put on the uniform, you signed a blank check to your country, no matter what, and you took an oath. That oath lasts to the day you die and beyond. And I honor that oath. I cherish that oath. I'm a proud veteran myself. I'm very proud to stand amongst you. I have Paul here, who I've known for years. I've rode motorcycles with him. I couldn't ask for a bunch of better guys that have served their country proudly and distinctly. And it's an honor to present this to you, and congratulations to all veterans. And when you're out there and you see somebody wearing a Vietnam hat or a veteran hat, whether it's Navy, whatever service they're in, thank them. Just thank them. Just go up to them and say, thank you very much for your service, because that means a lot to us, especially when you walk around, somebody just walks up to you and says thank you. And I'll give you a quick example. I went to a Braves game with my wife. She treated me one weekend, and we drove to Atlanta to watch a Braves game. That's my favorite team. And I'm sitting there, and I had an Air Force veteran's hat, and a guy 2 rows behind me kept staring at me, and he finally walked over and tapped me on the shoulder, and he said, thank you for your service. I just want you to know that I'm very proud. And that meant a lot to me, and it made my day. So congratulations to all the veterans. God bless. And as you say in the Marine Corps, Semper Fi.
Thank you very much. So we're kind of used to coming here every November now. The Onslow County Board of Commissioners have made it a tradition to recognize the veterans of Onslow County. And what you're seeing here is a sample of the leadership of the veteran service organizations in Onslow County that make up the Onslow County Council of Veteran Organizations. I happen to be honored to be the president of that council, and you couldn't ask for a better group of dedicated, loyal veterans who continue to serve way after they were discharged from the services. So we, on behalf of all of these gentlemen and ladies who make up the Onslow County Council of Veterans Organizations, thank you to the Onslow County Board of Commissioners. Robin, like he said, we've been friends for a while, and we used to ride motorcycles together, and there's a lot of camaraderie. And he mentioned seeing someone with a Vietnam hat on. This year is the 50th commemoration of the ending of the Vietnam War. So on Veterans Day, we were going to have a ceremony at the Disabled American Veterans, and in conjunction with that ceremony, we're going to try to honor those who have served in Vietnam. And the commemoration actually ends on November 11th of this year. So, and I would be remiss if I did not say that this Saturday, the 8th of November at 10 o'clock, there will be a Veterans Day parade here in Onslow County. And we're going to march off from the Coastal Carolina Community College at 10 o'clock and do our normal route down Western Boulevard. And we would like as many people as we could to line up the streets, the boulevard there, and pay your honors to those who served and those who continue to serve. So thank you very much, and I sure appreciate this. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you again to all those that served and for coming here this morning. We appreciate that. Without you, we wouldn't be able to do all the things that we are able to do in this great country. So always a thank you for your service. The board offers the public one opportunity to speak during the meeting. Comments should be limited to no more than 5 minutes and may be on any issue upon which the Board of Commissioners has control. In accordance with the board's adopted rules of procedure, commissioners shall reserve responses, if any, for the commissioner comment period on the agenda. Mr. Smitherman, do we have anyone signed up for comments this morning?
Yes, sir, we do. Our first speaker is Bill and Joan Gerdson.
We're Joan and William Gerdson, living at 215 Marsh Hen Court in Swansboro in the Halls Creek community. We've been there for over 20 years, enjoying every moment of it. We bring information regarding what we consider to be a hazardous traffic intersection in our community. I will leave some documents with your staff that can be distributed, and please take time to examine a map of the intersection of Hammocks Beach Road, Old Hammocks Road, and 4-H Camp Road. Over time, traffic has increased substantially, including large RV campers, and a result of increasing residential, commercial, and tourism activity accessing Hammocks Beach State Park, and also the Route 24 business establishments. The intersection has minimal traffic control, just 2 stop signs and no electronic warnings. The speed limit on Hammocks Beach Road is 45 miles an hour. I dare say I've exhibited a lot more higher speeds. The intersection of 4-H Camp Road and Hammocks Beach Road crossing is very hazardous due to poor sightline conditions, especially traveling south towards Swans Bluff and the Halls Creek locations. Several accidents have occurred there in recent years, and our family was victim to one very recently. We request that the Onslow County Board of Commissioners investigate options to improve safety at that location. And I'll turn any further comments over to my wife, Joan.
I am speechless. And I'm sure that...
I'm writing down the date and time for that comment.
Thank you for your...
Thank you for your time, folks. Appreciate it very much. God bless.
Thank you, Ms. Gerdson.
Well played.
Safe travels to Mr. Gerdson on the way home. Mr. Smitherman?
Yes, sir. Our next speaker is Ari Rakowitz.
Thank you, veterans, for your service. I attended the powwow honoring veterans this weekend, and I volunteered at the polls during early voting, even though there's nothing on my ballot until February. I volunteer as a private citizen instead of officially with organizations I support because my rage issues are too profound to bind myself to a schedule or to submitting timely reports facing this much hostility, and my outrage at, this is not veterans, I added that line. My outrage at people's cruelty toward the people you serve cannot fit in 10 minutes of public comment per month. I can't even volunteer in this county without experiencing microaggressions reacting to my anti-racism flair, my status as a non-Christian or a celibate slut, or the challenges I face as a housing insecure person experiencing long-term mental health crises after having slipped through the cracks in the cruelly designed social support systems. What are y'all doing to support people losing benefits I was denied when I needed them for the first time in the history of government shutdowns, and the local essential workers choosing to work without pay? Remember, negative effects from marginalizing compound. The blood of any person who dies from lack of access to services is on the hands of anyone still supporting the insurrectionist and the people who willingly brought him to power. I left early 2 days the second week of early voting because walking off the microaggressions from voters, candidates, and campaign volunteers in the park was not enough to calm me. One candidate told me she valued evidence, asked me a question, and then denied me the opportunity to provide her with evidence after proselytizing to me with multiple Christianity-favoring comments. sense. She then denied my logic and attempted to end the conversation with an agree to disagree, telling me, "We're good. No, City Councilor Edwards, you do not get to decide when I'm good. Pronouns matter beyond the cruelty of misgendering." If I had been a paid curbside poll worker or a full-time elections worker, I would have had to sacrifice a government job to avoid church in my secular workplace. The last day I left early meant hiking my bike down 258 with a flat tire to where I stay almost 6 miles away, even though a candidate had been kind enough to offer to coordinate getting my bike tire fixed or a ride. I could not emotionally afford to wait for either thing before exiting the space to avoid harming someone. And then, as much as I enjoyed the powwow and appreciated that no human beings interacted negatively with me personally in the space, the pain of experiencing educational entertainment as church in a fenced-in yard in a county I'm unaware of recognizing any land as tribal or intertribal space, so close to the former site of the bombed Georgetown school, while picking up discarded cigarette butts, price tags from capitalist transactions, and recyclables with nowhere to recycle them on site, taints the experience for me in a way I cannot unfeel and felt bound to share. The city and county officials gave a proclamation I hope the community sees as better late than never, even though it feels to me at least 35 years too little too late, especially when the city official who gave the proclamation is the one who harmed me while I was volunteering at the polls, and as a trauma bonus, shares my mother's first name. And remember, much like the 2024 primary election poll worker hostage situation was not investigated as a hostage situation, the bombing of a thriving school for Black people during the civil rights movement was not investigated as a bombing. Thank you to folks who have voted early, and to the few people at the polls and the many at the powwow who showed with respect, empathy, and compassion you're listening and you care. If you haven't voted yet, you're already registered and you live within the municipality limits of a municipality with a contest, tomorrow's the day. One of the county commissioners tried to greet me at the polls. As the board has been violating my rights, all communication between us should be on public record. County email is public record, and you all have my email address. If it doesn't begin with "I'm sorry for how the board and county have treated you, and we're taking the following steps to end First Amendment and human rights violations countywide," don't expect a reply. Separation of church and state are not the only human rights violations happening here. They're not even the only First Amendment violations. And keep in mind that the understaffed, undersupplied Board of Elections is facing an elections protest because people can't listen and be kind to each other in Holly Ridge, on top of rolling right into the county election with barely time to breathe. I'm not eligible to run for office here, and I hope that candidates working toward more diverse, equitable, inclusive, and sustainable community will jump the hoops to submit timely and complete paperwork to the Board of Elections. It's in December, y'all. I don't have the dates in front of me. As I feel the county owes me 5.5 minutes for canceling instead of rescheduling a meeting I intend to speak at earlier this year and gaveling me off inappropriately during another, I'm tempted to ignore your timer. If my pace is as exhausting for your ears as it is for my body to prepare to deliver, you need more diversity in your musical experience. I will respect the timer to respect public commenters.
Mr. Smithman, anyone else?
No, sir, that's the last speaker signed up for today.
Thank you, sir. We'll move right into public hearings. We have 5 public hearings scheduled during this meeting, and the first one is on the Hemby rezoning, and I believe Mr. Carter Metcalf will be handling these this morning. So,
yes, sir, and good morning, Chairman and Board of Commissioners. Happy Monday. As we begin, first of 4 public rezoning hearings, the first is the Hemby rezoning, Perry Z 2025, number 20. The applicant is John O. Pierce and Associates, and the owners are Robert and Rosemary Hemby. As we take an overview of the requested change, is 4 parcels in question, and across the 4 parcels, there are 3 zoning districts. So you have rural agriculture, residential 15, and highway business. The proposal is to make all 4 properties all highway business. It's located off of Richlands Highway at 258, actually at the intersection of 258 and 111, or Catherine's Lake Road. It's in the Richlands Township, and the rezoning area across all 4 parcels is 18.93 acres. The existing use of the property is residential / kind of vacant, depending on the parcel. The water for the area is a 6-inch Onwassa water main along Richlands Highway. There's 2 different wastewater opportunities. There's a 12-inch, but also a 16-inch sewer force mains there along Richlands Highway. ISO rating is 4 for the Rhodestown Fire District that would be servicing the property. And the most recent traffic count we have is from 2023 with a trip count of 19,000. Staff estimates the capacity is at 34,500. The schools serving the property are Clearview Elementary, Trexler Middle School, and Southwest High School. All 3 schools have capacity at this time. Here you can see the different zonings there for the property. You can see the blue there is the highway business designation, which was a portion of the frontage of one of the parcels. You can see that rural agriculture kind of makes up the center. And then the most northeastern parcel there has that residential designation of R15. And again, the proposal is to make all of the property there highway business. As we compare the districts, rural agriculture's purpose is to maintain that rural development pattern that preserves the agricultural character of the county, accommodates some limited commercial uses, but not retail uses, and allows for some single family. Residential 15 is a residential zoning district, and it's designed to be in our suburban areas of the county. And again, this is one of our districts that helps with our transition from rural to suburban. And then its current zoning district, but also the proposed zoning district is that highway business designation. And it's to accommodate our regional scale commercial uses and foster economic development along our major highway corridors, such as 258 or Richlands Highway. The comprehensive plan details the area as rural residential, and it's to provide opportunities for single-family residential development, as well as commercial development along specific crossroads, or again, a kind of along those major thoroughfares. So with the proposal being to highway business, we look at the non-residential development summary, would prescribe limited retail and service uses at crossroads that would directly serve those nearby residents or civic use. Here you can see the comprehensive plan. It details that kind of intersection area as that rural residential designation. You can see our environmental concerns for the area. There is some regulated flood zone on the property there from the Gravelly Run branch. It is an AE flood zone. They're kind of coming out from the stream. We would, again, no wetlands delineations have been submitted this time, but that would be reviewed through any sort of development process, as well as any development there in the AE flood zone. We'll look at reasonable and in the public interest. Horizon 2040 would support this rezoning. Highway business aligns with our future land use map, as well as also there is infrastructure that is available for the increased demand that commercial would bring. We had recognized that Highway 258 is an area of growth, and this is an area that should and will be continued to be studied based off the prescriptions in Horizon 2040. The county supports having a wide range of commercial activities in appropriate locations. At a crossroads like 111 and 258 would be described as an appropriate location. And as well, the county also supports a pro-growth, pro-business mindset. Look at non-supporting residential 15 and RA both align with rural residential. So our current zoning districts align with the future land use map, but so does also the proposed one. This would involve the clearing of wooded land. So obviously in Onslow County, we support preserving the rural landscape in our natural areas. And as well, also would be the conversion of residential zoning districts to commercial. And so that's why objective 6.1 would be non-supporting. But clearly, as the board can see, there's multiple supporting objectives for this comparative to the non-supporting. Planning board met at September 4th and voted unanimously to recommend approval of the rezoning request. No citizens spoke at that time against the request. Since that we've undergone the noticing process for the Board of Commissioners, we've received 3 public comment from citizens that are again provided to the board kind of against the rezoning. Their concerns were on noise. They just described the neighborhood as a quiet area. Increased traffic from commercial, any sort of increase in traffic would involve a TIA or traffic impact analysis. And also their concern were on clearing of the woods there behind the neighborhood. And again, all the public comment that was received by staff was provided to the board. No military impacts were presented, though, during the planning board meeting. Here you can see an overview of the properties with our aerial imagery. You can see those 4 properties and kind of how they are spaced relative to the neighborhood. A little bit closer look, you can see some of the existing structures there on the property. And it's respectfully requested the Board of Commissioners consider the proposed zoning map amendment, Appear Z 2025 number 20, adopt a statement of consistency for the amendment, and authorize the chairman to sign the necessary documents on behalf of the county. And on the screen is what it looks like from the roadside for the property's frontage. This concludes the staff presentation, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Metcalf. We will now open the public hearing. Mr. Smitherman, we have anyone signed up to speak?
Yes, sir, we have 2 speakers. The first speaker is John Pierce.
Good morning. On the Board of Commissioners, John Pierce, 405 Johnson Boulevard. On behalf of Mr. Robert Hamby and Longleaf Development, which I got the developer here with me, I'd like to point out a couple of things. First off, I think Carter did a pretty good job explaining it, but there's 7 pieces of property total. We asked 4, but there is 3 of them already zoned highway business contiguous to this property along the frontage of 258 and 24. Also, there's a seafood business been there established, and plus there's been retail sales for buildings, and some other businesses have been there for a long period of time. We feel like that if you look at the 2040 plan, that we have more pro objectives to rezoning than we do negative. And we do have some interest from some businesses that would be really community-related business. We've got a grocery store that's interested in, and looks like there's a parts store and a restaurant or 2, a local, like that would be supportive of the local community. And in some instances, having business like that kind of keeps, it can deter people traveling up and down 258 and 24 in different areas to how to go somewhere, when it would support neighborhood businesses right there, and that kind of would help reduce traffic in a sense. And also, we have all the infrastructure there to make a nice development there. And I'll be here if you got any questions of the Board of Commissioners. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Pierce. Mr. Smitherman?
The next speaker, Mr. Chairman, is Chris Sneeden.
Good morning. Thank you all for your time. My name is Chris Sneeden, and I am a developer and agent of Robert and Rose Hemby, who are the property owners. Robert and Rose, who live in Richlands, are not here this morning, but I've been working in conjunction with them on this rezoning and proposed development for several months now. I just wanted to point out a few things that John Pierce just said, but just to reiterate, the zoning request in front of you all is for 4 or 5 total parcels, but there are 3 additional parcels that are part of this project that are already zoned highway business. So our request here today is to rezone the rest of this property so that it is all contiguous zoning with the tracts that are not subject to this rezoning application. The intent of our project is to develop a neighborhood shopping center. We think that there's a need in this part of Onslow County for a grocery store and ancillary retail services. And our project is for a neighborhood shopping center to serve this community. 2 other comments were made about traffic impact analysis and wetlands. That is a routine part of our due diligence. We have already consulted with a wetlands consultant, an environmental engineer, to look at all the wetlands. All of that would be factored into our site plan. And we have also engaged with a traffic engineer and NCDOT to look at the traffic improvements, the traffic patterns, the safety of all of our ingress and egress, and so forth, to address that as well. So all of that would be factored into the project and the site plan, and we're aware of those requirements. And if there's any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Sneeden.
Thank you all.
There are no other speakers, sir.
All right, so we'll close the public hearing and bring it to the Board of Commissioners. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion to approve and a second. Any discussion?
I just got something to say. You know, a lot of times with these rezoning issues, I look at it and I look at the residential area, but I think looking on the map and looking how close it is to 111 and 258 in terms of the intersection, and plus thinking about the residents on 111 that live down there. I have several friends that live down that road as well. I think a shopping center would be perfect. It would help them out. You've already got the other areas that are highway business around there, and that is what is your intent, right? Is a shopping center?
That's right.
Okay, like a grocery store or something like that? Yeah, I think that would, if this was on Gum Branch Road, I would tell you no, but it's not Gum Branch Road. I don't see anything wrong with it at all. In fact, if that's what your intent, I think it's a good idea.
Any other discussion?
If the DOT plans for that intersection are carried out over the next several years, that'll be a really great place for some retail shopping.
Any other comments, questions? All right, hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, hearing none, motion carries. Mr. Metcalf?
Second item before the board is the PRMS Investments Rezoning, PRZ 2025 number 22. The applicant is PRMS Investments, and the owners are Mr. Gould Rand, Joan Thompson, and Graham Linda. So we take a look at the overview of the request is from RA to Residential 10, one tax map number in question 324-43. It's located at 1945 Pony Farm Road and is in the Jacksonville Township. The rezoning area is 56 acres and the existing use of the property is residential. When we take a look at the service overview, there is a 14-inch Onwassa water main along Pony Farm Road. The property is currently served by individual septic system. You see there the permit number on your screen. The fire source for the area is southwest with an ISO rating of 3. And our most recent traffic count comes from 2022 of 3,600. Staff estimates the capacity of over 13,000 for Pony Farm Road. We look at the schools serving the properties from Meadowview Elementary, Southwest Middle School, and Southwest High School. Staff projects that if a full build out of the development, it would put Meadowview and Southwest over capacity, or Southwest Middle School over capacity, while Southwest High School would have capacity at that time. Again, this is assuming a full build out of multifamily. Here you can see the rezoning map. Most of the area is scattered residential of varying densities, R15 to R10. And then you can see the property is currently zoned RA and surrounded by RA there, with the southwest property line abutting R15. When we compare the two zoning districts, the purpose of RA is to maintain that rural development pattern that preserves the agricultural character of the county. Allows for those single-family uses at a minimum lot size of 20,000 square foot per lot and limited commercial uses. Comparatively, residential 10 is to accommodate moderate density single-family development and limited multifamily. And this is in our urbanizing areas of the county that have access to the infrastructure to support residential densities at that scale. 10,000 square foot is the minimum lot size, as well as would allow multifamily of 10 units per acre. That'd be such as townhomes or an apartment complex. We'll look at the comprehensive plan as suburban growth, prescribes for moderate density single-family development and supporting non-residential development at, again, those appropriate locations. We'll look at the land use and development summary. We'll look at the residential section as the proposed rezoning is residential 10. Would prescribe single-family residential development within a major subdivision at densities of 4 to 5 dwelling units per acre, or multifamily at a density of 8 to 10 dwelling units per acre. Residential 10 is a corresponding zoning district to suburban growth. Here you can see the entire property as well as that entire area is that suburban growth designation. When we look at the environmental conditions, there are some streams nearby, such as the Spring Bridge Branch stream, a little bit of a tongue twister there, is nearby there. There's no regulated flood zones at this time. However, that doesn't mean there couldn't be some. It's just, lack of mapping on this property. But all environmental conditions, flood zones, streams, wetlands, are taken into account through the development review process. Here, the property is in the flight path overlay. And again, this is to mitigate any sort of effects with interfering with air traffic from the New River Air Station. And again, also to manage our densities within those areas to prevent catastrophes related to falling aircraft. Here is a map that we've not often shown, but we're trying to always continue to make our presentations better and be better at presenting information. Here nearby on Gould Road is a property within the Voluntary Agriculture District. So this is a farm. They have registered and are with that process with our friends in Soil and Water. And so that hash mark is within half of a mile of a Voluntary Agriculture District. This is always just important to point out because we make the developer label on the subdivision plat that they're within a half mile of a working farm. That way, any owners are notified that they could be within that and may experience the effects of being within half a mile of a farm. So it's just, we want to be mindful as we are promoting growth nearby them, specifically adjacent, because that could impact the working nature of that farm. So while this property is not adjacent, it's within a half mile of a few, and so that's why we wanted just to kind of point it out. We look at reasonableness in the public interest. It's supported by the future land use map. Again, residential 10 does align with suburban growth. We want to proactively manage growth and guide new development to areas with capacity. We would have capacity across several of the aspects of infrastructure, not all, but several of them. And we want to promote a broad range of housing types. Residential 10 allows for both multifamily, such as townhomes, but as well stick-built construction for single-family dwellings. Non-supporting, it would be the development of open space. Therefore, the objective 1.3 would be non-supporting, as well as it would put 2 of schools potentially over capacity. And so that's why objective 2.4 would be non-supporting. Planning Board met on October 2nd and unanimously recommended approval of the request. No citizens spoke against the application, and we've received no public comment on it so far. No military impacts were presented during the Planning Board meeting. The remarks of the chairman of the Planning Board are as follows. A total of 57 acres on Pony Farm Road in Jacksonville, zoned RA to proposed to be rezoned to R10. No members of the public spoke, and the request is consistent with the comprehensive plan and the future land use map. Here you can see an overview of the surrounding area and the various residential developments that are nearby. You can see the property there is just a current field with a residential structure there along Pony Farm Road. You can see the notice for today's meeting. A little bit of wider shot, you can see there's the field behind it, and there is that residential structure. So it's respectfully requested that the Board of Commissioners consider the proposed zoning map amendment of Period Z 2025 number 22. Adopt a statement of consistency for the amendment and authorize the chairman to sign the necessary documents on behalf of the county. This concludes the staff presentation, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Metcalf. Mr. Smitherman, we'll open the public hearing. Do we have anyone signed up to speak this morning?
We have no one has signed up to speak at this public hearing, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. I guess we can make a quick call to the audience if there's anyone that wants to. Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing and bring this item to the commissioners.
Motion approved.
Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion, questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those against, hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. Mr. Metcalf, getting his steps in this morning.
Yes, sir. That's good. Ottaway Associates rezoning is our next one before the board at Period Z 2025 number 23. The applicant is Charles F. Riggs and Associates, and the owner is Ottaway Associates LLC. So take an overview of the request is from Highway Business or HB to Rural Agriculture RA. One tax map number in question, 747-31.1. It's located at 8765 Wilmington Highway, also known as US 17, and it's located in the Stumptown Township. The rezoning area is the entire parcel of 3.93 acres, and the existing use of the property is that it's forested, and again, has that commercial designation from the highway business zoning. Water serving the property would be a 12-inch unwashed water main along Wilmington Highway, and many of the nearby properties are served on individual septic systems. It's the South Onslow or Turkey Creek Fire District with an ISO rating of 4, and then Wilmington Highway of 2023 trip count for 26,500. Staff estimates the capacity at 35,700 along that stretch of roadway. Schools serving the property are Coastal Elementary, Dixon Middle School, and Dixon High School. Currently, Coastal Elementary would have a little bit of remaining capacity, while Dixon Middle School and Dixon High School are over capacity. The proposed rezoning of rural agriculture, we would not prescribe any new additional students to the school system. Here you can see the property outlined there in red with cross-hatching. Again, currently highway business and proposed to be rezoned to rural agriculture. The red coloring that you see is from the town of Holly Ridge's zoning designations. So we are, that is the kind of the edge of the ETJ for Holly Ridge. So that's their zoning designation because it's within the ETJ. The current zoning district is highway business, and its proposed purpose is to accommodate regional scale commercial uses and foster economic development along our major highway corridors, while rural agriculture is to preserve the agricultural character of the county and accommodates for single family residential and limited commercial. So it does allow for some non-residential uses, and a few of those are listed in the table. When we look at the comprehensive plan, it details as suburban growth. And it's to provide for that moderate residential development and supporting non-residential development. Here, since it's rural agriculture, allows for both residential and non-residential development. We'll look at both. You can see prescribes for a residential development of 4 to 5 dwelling units per acre, or multifamily at 8 to 10. If we're looking at potential non-residential uses, would allow and look at commercial uses that support those neighborhoods along arterial roadways or major intersections. Here you can see the comprehensive plan identifies that area as suburban growth. That's prescribed as kind of, we expect Holly Ridge to grow between now and 2040. And so suburban growth is given that designation area around kind of there to the north there of Holly Ridge, while up against some state land, and that's the conservation designation there. There's no environmental concerns at this time as related to flood zones or streams. Any sort of wetland review would be handled through the environmental review of a site plan. We would believe there are wetlands on site based on an adjacent site plan for the storage use that is between there and 17. But that was, again, based off of their wetland evaluation. We would review this property on its own with any sort of site plan. We look at reasonableness in the public interest. Objective 1.3, we want to preserve the rural landscapes. Changing the designation from highway business to RA could help preserve, again, that vacant land. It would have less impact on the school system, and also, again, have less sort of impact on the environmental areas as well. We'll look at non-supporting. Highway business more closely aligns with Horizon 2040. Again, there are other properties in this area that are RA and already with that suburban growth designation. And then we look at objective 6.1 for housing type. RA would provide some other options, and this would also transition some land away from commercial to RA, and so that's why objective 6.2 would not be supporting. So the future land use map more aligns with highway business because it's on a major thoroughfare with that suburban growth designation, but there's other properties that are RA with that suburban growth designation. Because again, Horizon 2040 is a guide. It's not regulating, it's just a guide for the county for growth. Planning Board met October 2nd and unanimously recommended approval of the request. No citizens spoke against the application, and there's no military impact. The chairman of the Planning Board had the following recommendations. Totaled 3.93 acres on Wilmington Highway. It's zoned highway business to be rezoned to RA and Stump Sound. No members of the public spoke, and the requestant was not consistent with the comprehensive plan and future land use map, but it was determined to be consistent with the goals of the county and in the public interest. Take a look at the aerials. You can see the property is currently being shown as forested. These are, again, older aerials from 2024. The property in front of this has actually been developed into self-storage for boat and RVs in enclosed structures. And you can see that by the property's posting there. So this is the parcel in front of the one proposed to be rezoned. This is, again, Hurricane Hole North. There is a south designation, which is inside of Holly Ridge. So even though the aerials show forested, the aerials were from 2024. This was from within the noticing period. So it's respectfully requested the Board of Commissioners consider the proposed zoning map amendment of PRZ 2025 number 23. Adopt a statement of consistency for the amendment and authorize the chairman to sign the necessary documents on behalf of the county. This concludes the staff presentation, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Metcalf. We will open this for a public hearing at this time. Mr. Smitherman, do we have anyone signed up to speak?
Yes, sir. Joan Ottaway.
I'll let Charles Rigg out to comment. Charles.
Good morning. Charles Riggs, 502 New Bridge Street, Jacksonville. I'm here speaking on behalf of the Ottoways. We submitted this application because this piece of property is just under 4 acres. It is only accessed by a 30-foot easement, which is not suitable for suburban growth development. We have cleared the property. There is not sewer available, so any sewer that we have would be septic. There is a water line along 17, but this property is 2,000 feet from Highway 17. So it also adjoins about 1,000 acres of forest land behind us. I think everyone's aware of that. The Ottoways want to use this property for their personal use. We feel like that RA is more suitable for that than a highway business property that's 2,000 feet from Highway 17. It is compatible with the adjacent properties and to the property to the rear. With that being said, we'd appreciate your consideration in rezoning this from highway business to RA. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Riggs. Any other speakers, Mr. Smitherman?
No, sir, Chairman Foster, that is all.
All right, we will close the public hearing and bring it to the commissioners. We have a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve and a second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Mr. Metcalf, come on back up.
Last item with planning and development this morning is the Parrott rezoning PRZ 2025 number 24. The applicant is the same as the owners, Jeremy and Priscilla Parrott. So we take an overview of the request is from residential 20 to rural agriculture, or RA. Tax map number is 1138A-73. It's located at 113 Nautical Wave Road in the White Oak Township. The current or proposed rezoning area is the entire parcel of 11.70 acres, and the existing use is residential, which is the home of Mr. and Ms. Parrott. The water serving the property, there's an 8-inch, almost a water main, and a 12-inch along Riggs Road. The individual properties are served by individual septic systems. Fire service is for Hubert Fire District with an ISO rating of 5. And the most recent traffic count we had was from 2022 on Riggs Road, trip count of 2,000. Staff estimates the capacity at over 15. Schools serving the property are, Silverdale Elementary, Hunters Creek Middle School, and White Oak High School. Silverdale and Hunters Creek. Both are currently over capacity, while White Oak High School would have capacity. With the proposed rezoning to RA, which is, again, the same density as residential 20, we would not prescribe any new students be added to the school system. Here you can see the property is zoned R20. There are two properties there along Nautical Wave Drive, which were zoned R20. It was a little subdivision where, again, it didn't fully build out. It was just a few homes, and you'll see that on the aerials. So that is what the residential designation is from that major subdivision at the time. Here we look at the current zoning district is residential 20. It's to accommodate low-density, single-family residential development. As opposed to RA, they have the same lot size of 20,000 square feet, and RA, again, preserves more the agricultural character of the county because it adds in some of those limited commercial uses, while residential 20 is strictly residential in nature. The comprehensive plan details this area of the county, though, as agriculture, forestry. We want to preserve and protect our rural character of the county, but we will also at the same time provide for limited low-density residential development and non-residential uses that would support those rural residents. We look at the land use and development summary. We'll consider both because it is RA. Residentially, we would want to see single-family residential on larger parcels greater than 1 acre. The proposed parcel is greater than 1 acre. And non-residentially, we would want to see agricultural and forestry uses. Here you can see that kind of break point where it transitions from rural residential there to the south with the existing neighborhood. And then kind of this northern section of Riggs Road is that agricultural forestry designation. For environmental conditions on the property, there's no flood zones at this time, but there is a stream, Big Camp Branch, stream there, and any sort of environmental conditions would be reviewed with any site plan submitted to county staff. Look at reasonableness in the public interest. Transitioning from residential 20 to rural agriculture would be supported by the future land use map. It would support objective 1.3, preserving the rural landscape, and promote a little bit of a different for housing types. RA allows some additional types that residential 20 does not. But at the same time, R20 prescribes for single family alone. And so objective 6.1 would be supporting and non-supporting at the same time. It just depends how you want to promote a broad range of housing types. When we look at planning board's recommendation, they voted on October 2nd to vote unanimously to recommend approval of the rezoning request. No citizens spoke against it, and no military impacts were presented during the planning board presentation. The remarks of the chairman of planning board are as follows: total of 11.70 acres on Nautical Wave Road in the White Oak Township, zoned R20 to be rezoned RA. No members of the public spoke against the rezoning application. The owners were there and they did speak to the board. The request is consistent with the comprehensive plan and the future land use map. In total, Horizon 2040 would also support the rezoning as well. Here you can see the home on the structure as well as the rest of the wooded aspect of the property. You can see those 3 homes there along Nautical Wave Road. See a closer look there. It was brought up at planning board. That was just limited, nature of the soils of why the development was not larger than it was, but that was stated by the property owners to the board. Here you can see where we posted at the end of Nautical Wave Road, there off of Riggs Road. We wanted to make sure that the sign was viewable for the public, and we're allowed to post either on the property or in adjacent right-of-way for public noticing. So we thought this was a better vantage point for citizens. So it is respectfully requested the Board of Commissioners consider the proposed zoning map amendment of PRAZ 2025 number 24 and adopt a statement of consistency for the amendment and authorize the chairman to sign the necessary documents on behalf of the county. Concludes staff presentation, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Metcalf. We'll open the public hearing at this time. Mr. Smitherman, anyone signed up to speak?
No, sir, no one has signed up for this matter.
Do we have anyone here that would like to speak on this? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing.
Motion approved.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Questions? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. So, I think that's it for Mr. Metcalf for today. Thank you, Mr. Metcalf, for your work in bringing those to the board this morning. And we'll move to item E, under item 5 for proposed schedules, standards, and rules for the 2026 reevaluation of real property. And that'll be another hearing, but that'll be led by Mr. Kevin Turner, our tax administrator.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman, Commissioners. Today's item is a public hearing for the proposed schedules, standards, and rules for the 2026 revaluation of real property. Pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 105-317C, the Board of Commissioners shall hold a public hearing at least 7 days before adopting the schedules, rules, and standards that will be used in appraising real property for the upcoming countywide revaluation. The schedules were delivered to the Board of Commissioners on October 20th, 2025, and they were also made available for public inspection in the tax office and all branches of the public library on October 21st, 2025. The board will be asked to consider adoption of the schedules at the November 17th Board of Commissioners meeting. And to add some context to what we're here today for, and it's first about the revaluation. And when we use the term revaluation, we're referring to a systematic appraisal of all real estate parcels in the county to create a fair and equitable tax base. We do it because it's required by law, and it creates a more fair and equitable distribution of the tax burden. There are several statutory requirements involved in the process. General Statute 105-283 states that all property, real and personal, shall, as far as practical, be appraised or valued at its true value in money, meaning for real estate, market value in the revaluation year. 105-284 addresses the uniform assessment standard that's requires equity for public service companies. 105-286 sets up the octennial cycle, and what that simply means is each county in the state is required to conduct a reassessment at least once every 8 years. 286 also allows counties to reappraise more frequently. In Onslow, we currently reassess every 4 years. And we've been on a 4-year cycle since 2010, and this should be our fifth cycle on 4 years. So how does it improve fairness and equity in taxes? Over time, real estate values change at different rates for different property types, and that causes inequities in the tax base. And the revaluation process adjusts those property values back to the current market value, which creates a fair distribution of the tax burden. The process involves property characteristics are reviewed. We collect, verify, and analyze sales data, and we use all that data to develop the schedule of values. We complete statistical testing of those values, and we follow mass appraisal guidelines from the International Association of Assessing Officers, as well as appraisal standards that have been set by the North Carolina Department of Revenue. The Board of Commissioners also plays a role in the process, and part of that role is why we're here today, to conduct a public hearing for the schedule of values. 105-317C states that the board must review and adopt the schedule of values. They were made available to the board on October 20th, which was at least 21 days before the board will be asked to consider adopting them. And they were also made available for public inspection in the tax office and all branches of the Onslow County Public Libraries on October 21st. And in compliance with 105-317C, the board will be required to publish a statement in the newspaper after those schedules are adopted, which will be after the November 17th meeting. That notice will be required to do two things. Actually, I think this is a duplicate slide. The notice will be required to do two things. It'll let the citizens know that the schedules have been adopted. And it will also let the citizens know that there's an appeal period of 30 days from the date that notice is published in the newspaper. And the appeal of the schedules would go to the Property Tax Commission and not to the local Board of Equalization and Review or to the Board of Commissioners. Public notice is also a vital part of the revaluation. We use the local newspaper, G10, public information presentations, special town halls, and the Onslow County website. The effective date of the revaluation will be January 1st, 2026, and those assessments will be the basis for the tax bills that are due on September 1st. That concludes my presentation. The specific action requested is to conduct a public hearing on the proposed schedule standards and rules and to consider any information that may be heard, and we will come back to you on the 17th to ask you to consider adopting those schedules. And I'll be available for questions after the public hearing if anyone has any.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. We will now open the public hearing. Do we have anyone signed up to speak, Mr. Smithman?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman, no one has signed up to speak on the revaluation process.
We'll close the public hearing. Any discussion from the commissioners?
Yeah, I just want to say, right now, it's November 3rd. You don't have to stand up, Kevin. You're good. You did exactly what was requested, and I appreciate it. You know, and I want people out there that are watching G10 or here or whatever. Listen, this is a bad time for the county commissioners as well, and I'm just going to go on record to say that because we're going to be blamed from everything. It's a reevaluation, as you saw here, that is directed by North Carolina General Statute, plain and simple. It's mandated 8 years. We do it 4 years. Can you imagine doing one 8 years ago and then having it slammed on you 8 years later because of the rising cost of houses and stuff like that? Okay, so we break it down to 4 years, which makes it more fair. And understand the difference, and we talked about this in our workshop. I want people to understand the difference of the revaluation and what your house is worth, okay? There's a difference. Okay, you can go and have your house surveyed by a private person to show you the value of your house, and you'd be surprised. Your house may be more valuable from that private person than what is given on the reeval. Because reeval does not do a private evaluation of your house. It does, as he says in the slide, it does an average of the market. They don't come and physically measure and look at your house and put all these little things down in their little formula, and your house may be worth $383,000 and the county's giving you $325,000. Count your blessings. I'd rather have the county give my house $325,000 than $383,000. So there's a big difference here that I want the public to understand. And, you know, what you listed out there was pretty good. Local newspaper, G10, public info, special townhouse, Onslow County website. So just mark it on your calendar. On 3rd November, people were apprised of this in this meeting. It's public record. You can go to the website. You can talk to Mr. Turner. Because last year, you know, we got people complaining because they come in on the tail end not knowing what's going on. They get hit with the appraisal, but they didn't seek the information out to be educated, to call. So we're putting it out here now. This is November. I'm going to repeat it. November 3rd, this is the information on your reval, and reval has to be approved, as you said, 1 January? 1 January, okay? That goes for the following tax year. Okay, so just get that, just remember that. There's a big difference. And as county commissioners, we don't raise taxes. We don't raise your property tax. We have nothing to do with raising property tax. Okay, we have everything to do with the reval and lowering the tax rate. Because right now you're being charged, what is it, 60 cents per 100, or what is it, 57? I can't remember.
5.5.
Yeah, so, you know, before that, we lowered the tax rate the last time we did the reval to try to help equate some of the increases and some of the decreases. Some of the properties will increase in value, some won't. It depends on where you live and what the market value of your particular property is, plain and simple. So when we get that information, we're going to reevaluate it, and then we're going to sit down and have workshops talking about what we can do to lessen the burden on the taxpayers, but meeting our requirements, and we'll be looking at the tax rate. Has nothing to do with raising taxes. And the reason why I keep reemphasizing that, because the last time this happened, I got people saying, no, you raised my taxes. Oh, you raised my taxes. Oh, all you guys raised my taxes. You guys are pathetic. You raised our taxes. We don't raise taxes. It's the tax rate based on the reval. So I just want everybody to understand that. And today's your day. It's been announced today, November 3rd. I reemphasize that again. And you go to the following resources that were listed up there to check out what's going on with the county. And if you have questions, you can pick up the phone and call the Onslow County government and talk to Mr. Turner or one of his people that work for him to discuss the next step in this process. And for those like me that live in the city and the county, I get double whammied, okay? Because I have to pay the city tax rate and the county tax rate. But that's my choice. I live in the city because I want some of the city benefits that you won't get out in the county. And that's my choice, and it's your choice as to where you want to live. So just keep that in mind, folks. I just want everybody to be aware of that, okay? Remember, it's a reevaluation. We're not raising property taxes. We're going to base the tax rate based on the reevaluation. Plain and simple. All right, appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions, Commissioner Davis?
Mr. Turner, could you tell us what you believe the average increase in the appraisals are going to be, please?
Based on the statistics we've been looking at, I would say an increase anywhere from 35 to 40% in property values.
All right,
and this is over the 4-year period from 2022 to 2026.
Okay, very good, thank you. So I take a little different view than Mr. Robin. Do respect what he's saying, but I'm a pretty simple guy, and you're good, Mr. Turner, thank you. And thank you for your excellent presentation. I'm a pretty simple guy. If X is going up and some multiplier of X gets me to Y, then that must mean Y is going up. So if we don't reduce the tax rate, then your net tax out of pocket will increase. And we would have to reduce it to a net zero for your net tax out of your pocket not to increase. So I just want the public to see that it's simple math, and that's all I get is simple. I have to have it simple. So if you're, and let's pick the number 30%. If it goes up 30% and we don't decrease the tax rate, then your net cash out of your pocket to the county is going to go up 30%. It's simple. So I want the public to be aware so you can watch what we're doing, whether it's through our strategic plan, whether it's through the budget amendments that we get. Watch us and how we're spending your money. It is your money, not our money, and keep us accountable. And because I feel like that we can do better, and that this is a lot of money that's going to increase and come out of your pocket. So just, that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Any other comments or questions?
Just one last comment, Kevin. I heard you say that the increase is 35%. That is not across the board. That is in certain areas, certain people that it has increased. In certain areas, it's decreased.
That's an aggregate value countywide. Yeah. It's not specific to any particular group of properties.
And that's what I wanted to clarify. That is not across the board.
Some will see more, some will see less, but that's typically should be somewhere around 35, 40%.
Thank you.
So, follow that up, then what you also had said was that our beaches who typically see the spike will not see the spike this time. It's going to be...
They are included in that aggregate number.
In that average. Yeah. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Turner.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Good job.
That was a presentation for in a public hearing. We will not vote on that until the November 17th meeting to accept these schedule changes. And as far as the tax rate is concerned, that will be discussed and will be in the budget process as we move forward into that starting in January. Make sure there's nothing. Was there anything, Mr. DeSalms?
Yeah, I know nobody signed up for the public hearing, but I just want to make sure we opened it and made a call to the...
Yes. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in the public hearing on the presentation from Mr. Turner on the schedules and the reevals coming out? Okay, thank you very much. And so we will close that public hearing, and this vote will be made on the 17th of November. Thank you, Mr. Turner. So now, item 6, do we have any commissioners that would like to give any reports on any of the committees they sit on? Anyone?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, go ahead, Mr. Bennett, or Commissioner Bennett, you said absolutely down there. Commissioner Paget said sure.
I always love to talk about Onwassa. Onwassa is continuing to work every day to provide for the growth of Onslow County and water and sewer. You see the Highway 24 project bringing sewer in from Swansboro to Piney Green. That project is still moving along. The North Topsail Beach sewer plant is being expanded, and we're putting a pipe from Holly Ridge to Summer House so that we can serve that community more with sewer. Working on 2 new wells in Camp Davis Industrial Park and expanding the Dixon water treatment plant from 4 to 6 million gallons a day so that we can serve the Holly Ridge area with both water and sewer. So we see the growth in Onslow County. We know that Onwassa is tasked with providing services to all of Onslow County, and we're doing our very best to do that. I will actually be in Raleigh on Wednesday for a public hearing with our legislature on discharge of waste into low flow and no flow streams. If you haven't heard about that, the EPA, the federal EPA, has passed legislation that would allow Onslow County to discharge some of our effluent into low flow and no flow streams. But our state Department of Water Quality has not promulgated rules that will allow us to do that. And one of the biggest issues that we have with wastewater in Onslow County is the high water table, which limits how much effluent we can put into our groundwater. So this would be a huge benefit for Onslow County and all the other county coastal water and sewer systems to be able to do that. And all we need is rules from the Division of Water Quality to fix this issue. So we'll be in Raleigh on Wednesday for that public hearing. Hopefully we can get some movement out of DEQ to help fix this issue. So thank you for the time.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Commissioner Paget, I'm sorry.
I think this would help what you're discussing. I'll just throw this to you is, could you discuss the effluent waters and talk about their purity and all of that and what we're doing and why that's so important?
So sure, the treated effluent that comes out of our plants are for the most part cleaner than drinking water. We've actually been told on some occasions that they were too clean to put into the New River. So we treat your effluent very efficiently and make it very clean, and we spray it. Right now it goes into ponds where it evaporates. It's sprayed into spray fields around the county, and we try our very best to be ecological and to look out for our environment the very best we can. And I would say that Onwassa's sewer treatment is much better for our environment than 14,000 septic tanks and however many thousands of septic tanks we have in Onslow County. So expanding sewer capacity is a big priority. It's also a very expensive priority and very difficult to do, but we're looking at every opportunity to do that. So thank you, Mr. Davis.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Commissioner Paget?
Thank you. John, I appreciate you bringing that up because I was going to state that we do a lot of aerobic treatment. I sat on Onwassa board as well as Commissioner Bennett and Mr. Rick out there. this is a really highly treated wastewater, if you want to call it that. It's just about drinkable water. And it is, in some cases, cleaner than what we're drinking today. So if this does not pass, we're going to put us in a hurt locker on growth. I can just tell you that. And we need it to pass. And we have a great place for that to happen. We're very fortunate Onslow and Pender County joins together there that it needs the water. I mean, it really needs it because it's just gone dry. So hopefully that will pass. But now I'll get to what I wanted to speak about. I sit on the Coastal Coalition for Onslow County, protecting our commercial fishermen. And we continuously meet and make recommendations, and we're continuing to do that to protect the commercial fishing industry for Onslow County. And we do have Swansboro and Sneads Ferry in our county that depend on that for a living, and we want to make sure it's held up and a heritage that has been here since the beginning of time, if you will. So we're continuously doing that. Well, we'll keep you updated as we go forward, but we're making great strides and be able to make recommendations. And with that, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Pageant. I think Commissioner Davis, you said
Sure, thank
yes
you.
as well.
I did, thank you. So I sit on the Onslow County Hospital, Onslow Memorial, and so I just, I don't want any of y'all to have an emergency, but if you do have an emergency, I'm going to encourage you to go to Onslow Memorial Hospital. They have made some logistics changes inside the emergency room. They call it the ED department. And where your maximum wait time in the emergency room should be between 8 and 10 minutes. That is your wait time before actually seeing a physician. And so I encourage you, if somebody, you or your family have an emergency, to consider Onslow Memorial. They are making some great strides, great changes on that. And that's just one of them. I could talk about their radiology machine that is the same machine being used by UNC hospitals across the state. I could talk about some other fun stuff that they have for mental patients that allows the mental patient to be in a safer environment. They are staying on top of things from a technology perspective, as a service perspective. And so proud to be on that board, proud to be a part of Onslow Memorial. So, and I had at least one person challenge me. They heard it on the radio, because I did talk about it on the radio a couple months ago, and they actually went. And then they found me at a later meeting, and they said, wow, it really worked that well, that they were seen within the 8 to 10 minute window. So encourage you guys to challenge me on that one and provide feedback, because the hospital is making great strides and I want to keep promoting them. When you see comments on Facebook, I encourage you to talk about the positive things that are happening there. And it's nobody's secret that Onslow Memorial's had some image issues in the past, but they are making great strides to change that image and what they're doing. So I encourage you to be a part of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Vice Chairman, anything?
Yes, sir.
Thank you all for sharing. I sit on the Juvenile Crime Prevention. We meet and get a feedback or what's going on with the efforts that are being made through teen court and other avenues to address the teen issue. So a lot of work is being done to do that. So as you see some of that happening, there are lots of people out there trying to work with our youth, and we need some. So we appreciate all that work that's going there. Also sit with the Topsail Island Shoreline Protection Committee, and then also the Beach, Inlet, Waterway, and Sound Committee with Rick Grant there from North Topsail Beach. I think I got all that right. Beach, Island, Sound, Waterway, anything with water around the county. So a lot of work going on there to make sure we protect our beaches, and not only just the beaches, but also as Commissioner Pageant mentioned, is there's a lot going on in the Intercoastal Waterway and the rivers there with the decisions being made without much consultation with those that live on the coast, and their lives livelihood depend on what's going on in the waterways. And some of that is the oyster leases And the Topsail Island Shoreline Protection Committee does a lot of work up in Washington with a lot of federal regulations that they like to send down here locally. So a lot of people in the area doing a lot of things to help support Onslow County, as well as Pender. That's a part of a lot of this as well. So a lot of work going on for the citizens, and we'll continue to do that work to make sure Onslow County is appropriately taken care of locally, statewide, as well as nationwide. So now we'll move on to item 7 and ask Kevin Patterson, our Chief Finance Officer, to provide the board with a presentation on our quarterly financial report. Mr. Patterson.
Good morning, sir. Okay, with this, this is the quarterly report for the first quarter of the fiscal year. We are looking at comparison. Our current revenues are coming in as projected. You will notice that we do have a slight increase in our property tax collections for the current year over last year. We are slightly over $1.2 million ahead of last year. This is not necessarily something to be overly anxious towards, because this could easily be timing a single deposit depending on when it's what could move this $1 million without issue. Though probably in the next 2 weeks, we do expect to see a significant deposit once we have escrow payments would be clearing the bank. So property tax collections in November will probably show about a $50 million increase for this. Sales taxes are also, again, not showing in this quarter because they are collected 3 months in arrears. If you look at the detail, we did show last year had the $1.3 million collected. That was for the Medicaid hold harmless number. That amount just was not received. That was the true up from the prior year. That amount was just not processed at this point in time. Your other revenues are still looking to hold where we expect to be. The intergovernmentals, again, are slow. Some of that is because we are in a reimbursement process. And again, also service revenues. Last year, midway through the year, we did change our EMS billing. So we're doing a cash basis versus a full accrual. So in the direct comparison for the first 6 months, there is a slowdown in revenue recognition. Looking again at our expenditures for the prior years, we are on task where we are. I did not put in the budgets in this because for the first quarter, we do have some scheduled expenditures that come out which go off and heavily skew our payments, primarily like our property and liability insurance comes out the 1st of July, and that is a several $1 million payment. So that goes off, and that would show us looking as if we are overspending, outspending our budget trend. But if you look at it to overall, it is an appropriate spend rate for us. But also looking at the breakdown of how our expenditures are holding, we do show a fairly consistent use of in-between budget and actual. You'll notice that our education right now for actual is a larger percentage just because our other expenditures such as salaries and our other contract rates have just not caught up. But since we spend on a scheduled procedure for education, that's why it's showing up as a higher rate. Once we hit November, December, and June with our significant debt service payments, that will actually tighten that number up so it will end the year exactly on budget. The other thing in your packet was a copy of a draft of our exhibits, our Schedule 2 from the audit. We are showing a $6 million increase in fund balance for the general fund last year. Also with this, the audit statement is expected to be given to the auditor by the end of next week so that they will have time to review it. So for the final submission in December, giving time during the Thanksgiving holidays. So the audit will be timely this year. With that, once we have the audit, the draft audit presented to the auditors, we will also make that available to the board as well. But it will not be final until we have the opinions from the auditors. The opinions will probably not be available until December, but the state did change its deadline for audit submission until December 31st, rather than the automatic extension. And just as a point of comparison, Wake County is expected to submit their audit to the auditor this Friday. We're targeting for next Monday. If you have any questions. If not, I'll have our grant manager step forward. This is Ashley Cosby. She's our new grant manager. She started in July, so this is her first presentation.
Good morning. In Q1, the board formally accepted 6 grants totaling $5.6 million. This included grants for the Sheriff's Department, the library, Animal Services, and the airport. Additionally, we have 6 active grant applications awaiting award status totaling $2.3 million. This includes grants for Animal Services, Parks and Recreation, and our FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Program with Emergency Services. This grant was to purchase and install a generator at the Swansboro High School Emergency Shelter. It was previously proposed under the BRIC program with a required 25% local match, but now having been moved to HMGP, it is 100% fully covered by federal and state funds. We also have 6 additional grant opportunities that we have explored but are not currently pursuing. These are mostly just general private foundation grants with rolling deadlines that I'm just keeping on the back burner for future use or as needed. The base also brought forth the North Carolina Department of Environmental Equity grant. This is a water resource development grant supporting matching funds for the dredging project for local waters. I also have this on file pending any interest. And lastly, our Office of Local Defense and Community Cooperation grant with the base in the city is still ongoing. The RFQ was posted on the 3rd of October and it was closed on the 31st of October. Currently, we are pausing any officially hiring of project managers or contracting services until the federal shutdown is over and the offices open back up. And that is all I have, pending any questions.
Questions?
Sure. Having been part of the impetus on that generator for Swansboro High School, could you provide more depth on where we are, what target dates or anything like that for that, please?
So it's a pass-through grant where FEMA is working with the state. So right now, per the state, they do not have a current timeline as when the award will be given. It was due the 31st and it was submitted last week and I still have not heard an update on it.
Okay. Thank you, though. Thank you for pursuing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Any other questions?
I just got a comment. Kevin and Mr. Smith and staff, thank you for getting us online with our audit. That's very important. Thank you so much. You held up to your word. Thank you.
Thank you both for your presentations this morning. And comments from the board appreciated as well. So we will now move into item 8, general items. And the first one is the FEMA Port Security Grant. And I believe our Sheriff, Chris Thomas, will lead us in this one.
Good afternoon. On September 28th of this year, the Onslow County Sheriff's Office received notice from the Federal Emergency Management Administration that we're awarded a grant in the amount of $240,338. This will fund a project with a total cost of $320,450, which is including a 25% required match of $80,112. The grant will fund overtime for deputies to conduct extra patrols, as well as the purchase of a patrol and response vessel equipped with radar for navigation, thermal imaging, and towing and rescue equipment. The Sheriff's Office plays a vital role in safeguarding North Carolina's coastal waterways, particularly in and around the New River, the intercoastal waterways, the near-shore Atlantic waters, along the Onslow County beaches and the Marine Corps Station and the New River Air Station. The addition of this vessel will significantly enhance our abilities to provide maritime and waterway protection respond rapidly to security incidents, and support search and rescue operations, as well as respond to natural disasters. We currently have a vessel we do this with. We try to perform these patrols as best possible. We're often limited by the resources we have. The vessel we have currently is well over 30 years old and is showing its age. So that's what this grant's for. That's what it is to replace. Our primary focus is safety in our waterways, respond to disasters and incidents, maybe where individuals are drowned or missing. We do safety inspections on boats, and that's what we focus on. It is respectfully requested that the Board of Commissioners approve the grant funds, project ordinance, and budget amendment, and authorize the Commissioner and County Manager to execute the necessary documents on behalf of the county.
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion? That was
I
quick.
just got a comment. This is well needed. When I work with the county, the boat they have is old. It's over with. Not up to date. So anyway, I'm glad you're willing to get this and willing to help the citizens of Onslow County. Shows good intent on our part as well as your part to make this happen for everyone that lives in Onslow County. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Wow, it's been a long time coming for something like this. I remember working with John Matthews in the Sheriff's Department from a boat that you all had, and we did drug interdiction in the intercoastal, and it wasn't paid for grant money. We were using our regular, agents and deputies to do this on our own with the Coast Guard. So that's a big, big win. I think this is the first time, isn't it, for a grant like this for the Sheriff's Office?
It is. It's a ports and waterway security grant. I did not think we qualified because we do not have a port. But after my staff researched it a little more, obviously the federal properties, the Marine Corps Air Station and the Marine Corps Base, as well as the Atlantic Waters, qualified us, and we were accepted on the first try.
Well, kudos to whoever wrote this grant, because this is way overdue, and I'm glad to see you guys get it. And I think it's fantastic. And you're right, Onslow County. It's like when you get on the water. That's Onslow County's jurisdiction, certain feet from the shoreline, and people don't realize that. So, unfortunately, if you have somebody that's deceased that is floating there, it's your jurisdiction.
Yes, sir.
And well done, your grant writer, whoever he is, you did a great job.
Yep. Thanks, sir.
Any other comments? All right. I appreciate it, Sheriff Thomas. Good job. And all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. So I think it's Carrie Sanders, Assistant County Manager, presenting on the Comprehensive Opioid, Stimulant, and Substance Use and Abuse Program Guide.
Good afternoon, Chairman, Vice Chair, and Commissioners. Today, the item before you is the Comprehensive Opioid Stimulant and Substance Use or Abuse Program Grants. We refer to these grants as either COSAP or COSUP. In February of 2022, the Board of Commissioners approved a federal grant in the amount of $899,943. This grant provides for medication-assisted treatment in our detention center as well as case management. Onslow County was recently approved for a one-year extension for this grant in order to expend all federal funds. The Board of Commissioners also accepted a COSUP federal grant, 3-year grant, in November of 2023 in the amount of $1,286,810. And this grant allowed for expansion of the evidence-based substance use treatment in our detention center, specifically allowed us to have licensed clinical addiction specialists in our detention center to provide individual and group therapy. To fully meet the grant objectives and expend all grant funding, an additional correctional case manager position and a licensed clinical addiction specialist position are needed. Both positions will be time-limited and will be fully funded by the federal grant. So it is respectfully requested that the Board of Commissioners approve the correctional case manager position and the licensed clinical addiction specialist position. That, again, will be fully funded by these federal grants, and authorize the county manager to sign any necessary documents on behalf of the county. And I'll answer any questions you may have.
I've got a question, Carrie. This grant that because I'm very familiar with this grant. Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's get a motion on the table.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I just got a question. Is this, because of the government shutdown, this grant's already been approved, is it going to fall in the crack where it's not going to be funded until the government opens up its doors again?
Currently, they are allowing the grants. It is a reimbursement grant, okay. So we typically ask for reimbursement every quarter.
Okay. That's the only question I have.
Sheriff Thomas, anything you'd like to share and add?
I do anticipate it to be held up until the government opens back up. However, it's filed quarterly, and I'm hoping it's open by that quarter. We're running into the same thing with our federal inmates. We're billing, and they're not able to pay us at this time. But when it opens up, they will then back pay.
Well, I guess the question is with Trillium, especially with Trillium and on all these other grants that are out there and funding that come from a federal level, are they going, it's kind of complicated because they can't decide what to do, but the government shut down. So what I'm saying is some of these grants that have been approved prior to the shutdown, you're going to pay for these things, but do we have a guarantee from the federal government that they're going to reimburse and make some of the pay retroactive? We do? That's all I care about, because I don't want the government to stiff us, is what I'm saying. So, I mean, that's pretty much on track. Okay.
We've had other federal grants that there's been concerns that, you know, in regards to our funding and whether or not it will be doged or not. This is not one. They approved the extension easily.
So with these grants, there's no fear that they may, because of the shutdown, cut these grants or cut these programs at all?
No.
Good. All right. Thank you.
Anything you want to, Sheriff Thomas, to share on the success of what's been going on and that way everybody that's listening can hear how beneficial this has been?
The program stays full. We're quite often short-staffed, obviously. This is what we're trying to make up for with this. We're having a lot of people apply for it that may, for whatever reason, not meet the criteria. However, we do keep us, like I said, full, and we do reach out to try to get the services when they do leave the facility. And of course, the whole goal for this is they don't come back.
Right.
Which in my eyes saves the taxpayers a lot of money when they don't come back, because you don't have additional victims and you don't have additional jail and judicial expense.
So, the thing that was important right here is that effort doesn't end when they leave. There's still opportunities for assistance as they're out there to keep them from the recidivism and coming back to your fine establishment.
Yes, sir. That is the case manager job. That's what we're needing the next one.
Outstanding. Any other questions or comments? All right. We've had a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Sanders. Thank you, Sheriff. And now we're going to go to Motorola Service Upgrade Agreement, and our Emergency Services Director, Mr. Bradley Kinlaw, will present this item.
Good afternoon, everyone. Emergency Services is seeking approval for a new service upgrade agreement with Motorola Solutions for the continued support and modernization of our public safety communications system here in the county that we own. The county, we currently operate what they call an Astro 25 radio system, which is used by numerous departments, to include the city and the base, and all our mutual aid partners from out of county to communicate with us here. To maintain the system reliability, security, and compliance with industry standards, the agreement ensures the system remains updated with the latest software, security patches, and technical enhancement. As part of this agreement, the county will also implement Cyrus Central Management Advanced, a cloud-based monitoring and management platform that provides real-time visibility of our system's performance and anomaly detection and remote diagnostic capabilities. So we can not find an issue a week later when something happens when they go to our tower sites to do a weekly check. This will be real time. This will significantly improve the county's ability to manage and troubleshoot, optimize, as I was just saying, our network. The contract covers an 8-year term beginning in July 1st, 2025 and ending June 30th, 2033, with the annual cost structure starting at approximately $377,000 a year in the first year, excuse me, and increasing to $457,000 by the final year. The total contract value, $3.33 million, subject to taxes. Annual appropriations will be required to cover this contract. Approval of this agreement will ensure that Onslow County's public safety agencies continue to benefit from a reliable, modern, and secure system. I'm respectfully requesting the board approve this proposed 8-year service upgrade agreement with Motorola in the amount of $3,333,317.80 plus taxes, and authorize the county manager to execute the agreement and any related documents on behalf of the county.
Second. Motion and a second. Any questions, comments?
And this may be for Mr. DeSelms, but does this take care of all of our issues with Motorola that we had and our radios and everything?
They're two different components. So that was with the CAD system and the records management system. This is with the radio. And my understanding with the radio, we've always been very satisfied with Motorola. So two different arms of Motorola. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, hearing none, motion carries.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Kinlaw. We'll move on to item 10, managers' comments. Mr. Smitherman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to go over several things that the board has already been made aware of, but I know the public can benefit by going over a few of these. First of all, we continue to hold open our fire and parks surveys. We're getting great response, particularly on the parks survey. All of our K through 12 parents received as part of the weekly newsletter from the school board, got a notice to participate in that survey this past Friday, and it will be open for 2 more weeks. We had almost a 50% increase in attendance at this fall's Monster Bash. We continue to have outsized response to our parks and recreation programs. It's obvious that we're providing amenities that are valued and are constantly increasing the participation in, including this past weekend, we had 550 people in Hines Farm Park participating in a 5K run. We took a group of board members and staff last week on facility tours. We saw several buildings that we've put money in recently, particularly our DSS Annex, which houses over 100 of our social workers, a building that for a small price of upfit and renovation has become a very important, highly valued public facility where it used to not be used for for county use. So we got that back, and we now have a building valued at over $10 million that we put less than $2 million in, and it's made a big difference in our operations at DSS. But particularly, we looked at our EMS stations and our need for EMS stations in the county. We have narrowed down the 3 sites to build our first 3 stations that we approved in the FY26 budget, and we'll continue to do site development work prior to going out for the necessary design build contractors to build those buildings, which we estimate to be below our budgeted amount. We budgeted $3 million for each, and we think we can do it for at least $500,000 less than that, we hope. And then I would like to call attention to Wes Wilson and our Wellness Committee, who produced a great wellness event last week that had more attendance than ever before for our employees. We continue to strive to be the best employer in the region, and our focus on wellness of our employees is part of that effort. And then finally, I would like to congratulate and publicly recognize Laura McKinney, who was promoted to Veterans Services Director during the month of October. She is a longtime employee in Veterans Services. She was here 16 years ago when I was here the first time. She stayed around the whole 16 years and learned under Amelia Grissett, and we are happy that she is now our Veterans Services Director. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Smitherman. We'll go to commissioners' comments, and we'll start with Commissioner Paget. You want to kick us off this morning?
I'll be fine. First of all, I want to thank everyone for coming, and the folks from Swansboro, and I'm sorry I can't pronounce their last name, but you know, we're not in the road business, but I would like for the board to make a recommendation to DOT, if we could, about what we could do to look at that intersection to try to help them. I used to live down there, and I know what they're talking about, so it's well worthy of that. Also, I would like to say that Onslow County lost an icon this past week, and that was Mr. Tim Millis in Sneeds Ferry. A lot of you folks might not know to him, but he was 93 years old, and he gave unselfishly back to Onslow County in every way he could, especially in Sneeds Ferry. Shrimp festivals, when they first started, he was there, and that whole family has really given and said he was a commercial fisherman all his life, his father before him and his grandfather. And they tried to protect that industry and still do. And folks, you just don't know how much a person like that meant to the community. And well-rounded man. If heaven deserves someone, it was him. So with that, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Paget. Commissioner Davis?
Yes, sir, thank you. Yeah, just noticing through the rezonings, you know, especially on the negative side, that Carter does so well of showing us the balance of it is, you know, we're always coming back to OCS with schools and school populations. We're always coming back to DOT and roads. And then even as Mr. Bennett said, you know, having sewer for some of these locations. So I just continue. I think these rezonings, a lot of them, especially when we're going back to a rural agriculture, I really appreciate those. But I continue to still feel that we really need to get the major players in a room and really put a 50-year, 60-year, 100-year plan together with, and these are just a sample of the folks that need to be in the room, but OCS, DOT, and ONWASA. Again, just a reminder to the public, I just encourage you to watch it as we come through this budget cycle, watch our taxes, watch what we do with the tax rate. Again, if you're paying $1,000 in tax rate and we don't, in taxes and we don't decrease the rate, but you're one of those folks that it goes up 40%, then instead of $1,000, Rick, correct me if I'm wrong, you're going to pay $1,400. So it's imperative for you as citizens to really watch that closely. I think Commissioner Paget brought up a good point for Kevin, you and your team, on the audit. Thank you so much for, nailing that down, getting us back on track. I know that you didn't own that to begin with, but you have grabbed the bull by the horns, so to speak, and really got that wrestled up. So thank you much for doing that. And yeah, I think that concludes it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Commissioner Carpenter?
I don't want to be one that doesn't thank Kevin Patterson for getting us an on-time audit. It'll be the first one I've seen since I've been in office. I really do appreciate you taking that on and accomplishing it. Want to say thank you publicly for all the veterans as we approach Veterans Day next week, and especially proud of all of the veteran services that do truly care for all of the different services that the veterans deserve and need. So thank you to all of you. The facilities tour that we took, as the manager referred to, was phenomenal. It was really good to get out in the field and see how much service we provide to the citizens, which a lot of you watching may not even be aware of because you don't take advantage of it yet. But our Parks and Rec and our emergency services have been worn out and really do need an upfitting, and that's probably the very smallest way to refer to it, but the investment that we will put forth is definitely needed and will be appreciated in years to come as the growth continues here in Onslow County. Lastly, I just want to say it was a real joy and an honor to attend the Native American Onslow Veterans Powwow on Saturday and to present the proclamation on behalf of the board. It was an incredible turnout there and just so amazing to see these veterans who also are Native American and representing their heritage in the way that they did. It was really quite awe-inspiring for me. So thank you. Have a wonderful week.
Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. Commissioner Bennett?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's been good to me to hear so many of our commissioners talking about water quality and the ecology and the need for our fisheries. It seems like just a few years ago, the subject was kind of taboo and we didn't want to talk about it. But now it seems like we're able to talk about how we can help our ecology without hurting our economy. And I think that's a good conversation to have. And in that light, Commissioner Davis and I were able to attend the Water Quality for Fisheries Symposium in Beaufort at the Duke Marine Lab last week for a couple days. And I got to look at how our water quality is doing and what we can do to help. And maybe we come away with some ideas that will help our county in the future. Also wanted to thank our staff for the facilities tour that you guys provided. I'm sorry that more of us weren't able to be there because it was really good to know what our employees are utilizing for facilities and what the many needs are for capital improvements in Onslow County. I hope that we can continue to work on the capital needs and over the next several years. And finally, all the municipal candidates that are working to run for office, we appreciate your opportunity or your service to your communities, and wish you guys the best tomorrow in the election, and looking forward to working with whoever the citizens choose to elect. Hope y'all have a good day.
Thank you, Commissioner Bennett. Vice Chairman Knapp.
Yeah, don't forget, he mentioned the elections. Sitting elections are, I guess, tomorrow is when you cast your final vote. And also don't forget, upcoming sometime in March, we have the midterm elections as well for some of the commissioners here as well. So just to prepare you ahead of time. First and foremost, I want to thank the veterans, Paul Levesque, for being here today. It's really good to see an active veteran community here in Onslow County. I mean, everywhere you turn, you see the veterans, and they're proudly wearing their hats. And I really appreciate that. Growing up as a kid, you didn't, even my father, you didn't wear a hat because you didn't want anybody to know you were in the military during that time frame. And it's great to see patriotism back, especially in Onslow County. And like I said before, when you see a veteran, thank them. Because they truly deserve it. And that's all they want to hear, just a simple thank you. And that'll go a long way, believe me. And we've already talked about the tax reval, so you've been prepared. So people out there that are listening on G10 or whatnot, go ahead and start reading up on it, get your information as to when we're going to be doing the public hearing, when the public hearing is. If you want to come and speak, that's your opportunity to voice your opinion. But let it be known it's out there now, and do your research, and hopefully things will turn out well. And last but not least, by the way, I just want to say, Kevin, thank you for putting that slide presentation together and for answering the questions in the workshop. And I agree with you about getting on the website and putting some more information out there some short videos, whatever it might be. That's your bailiwick. But I think you guys are on the right path, and I really appreciate the heads up and the info that you provided. And last but not least, as you look around, all the stuff that's going on, the schedule that's coming up, Christmas and Thanksgiving is right around the corner. I can't commend our staff enough for all the hard work and all the things that they have to answer. Had a couple of issues that they addressed with some of the commissioners that we called, and they jumped right on it. David, especially you, on one particular permit issue with a fellow neighbor of mine. Immediately got on that. The city did, and I really appreciate your help. And I can't say enough about the hard work of our staff. And David said something earlier that he represents the best county government. He said that earlier today, and I agree. We have a great staff, great people. I see the morale's going up, and I'm really thankful, truly, for all that you do. It means a lot and makes our job easier. So if I don't see you before Thanksgiving, have a happy Thanksgiving, and thank you for coming.
Thank you, Vice Chairman. I know everybody's ready to go, but a few things I'd like to share this morning. First is a big thank you to the veterans here. Onslow County is a special place. All the folks that have grown up here with the United States Marine Corps, a part of their life. Those veterans, what they've done, sacrificed, their families, has been a major part of the success of what Onslow County is able to do, what this nation has been able to do, because our rights are guaranteed by those that serve. So we appreciate that service to our community. And a big thing coming up, I don't even know, but we're at 250th birthday. So lots of celebrating in Onslow County and Jacksonville. No one knows how to throw a birthday party, but whenever the Marine Corps throws that 250th, I think it's probably going to be a pretty big shindig because of, all the way back to, I believe, the tavern that they said we're going to do this. And here we are in 2025, and they are still getting the job done. So a big thank you to the Marine Corps and their families. One thing is for sure, they sit in the church pews with us on Sundays. They sit in the stands, athletic events. They sit on boards. They're a part of the fabric of this community, and we all know and understand from the Beirut bombings that took place and how that brought this community together, and continues to do that. As we know, in October we always do the observance of Beirut, and the impact it had on this community and the Marine Corps. So we appreciate our veterans extensively. I think I want to reiterate the Kevins first. Kevin Patterson, thank you. We appreciate the work that you've done to get us back on target with the audit. A lot of work, and getting the right people to be a part of your team and doing that. We appreciate that. And Mr. Turner, Kevin Turner, he may have, I don't know if he's still back there. I see him. No one ever wants to hear from the tax man, but we appreciate what you shared with us tonight or this morning, and the work that's going into that. And I've got to mention, appreciate Tom Sherwood, our HR director. He and I were able to sit down, I think last week, and he was able to share with me all the work that's going on in HR. Has just been it's just fantastic of the efforts that he and his team have put together. And he'll be the first one to tell you it's not him, it's his team, and they have done a tremendous job in doing the things they need to do, because the HR has a direct impact on retention of employees and morale of employees, and we want to do everything we can to keep them here and get them here and keep them here and watch them through retirement and develop. And the work that his department has done has been tremendous, and I appreciate the time that you took to sit down and we got to discuss a lot of the work that you are doing. Already mentioned by Commissioner Carpenter and Commissioner Bennett, the facility tours was great to go out and see the things that we have. Mr. Kinlaw spent some time presenting to us over in, they had a name for it, I think it's still Station 3 in my mind, but it has a longer name there up there. So it sounds so much better than Station 3, so maybe we need to put that out more often. So we appreciate the time you took to share with us and your team that gave us the tour and shared that as well. And got to thank Sheriff Thomas. Make sure I have the rank right. Major Evans. Captain, I could not remember. I had Major and Captain written down here. I said it's a 50-50. So Captain Evans also met us on that facility tour and showed us some interesting things that were taking place within the sheriff's office. And I'll say sheriff's office because it's the office over there, and that's Sheriff Thomas's office and not a department that we have. But we appreciate you letting Captain Evans come over and speak to us. That's a gentleman that's been in it a long time and dedicated a lot of hours and loves this community. I don't hold any ill will with him for playing basketball against my Stallions when I was coaching, and he was playing for Lejeune, I believe. And then the last thing, Onslow County has so many people that have been so instrumental in the things that have taken place. And I've been here all my life, and my dad grew up in Sneed's Ferry, and his cousins, Bernice Guthrie and the rest of the sisters that lived down at Sneed's Ferry were instrumental in the Shrimp Festival, which brings me to Tim Millis that Commissioner Padgett already mentioned. But just there's icons that live amongst you. And the things that they have done often are not recognized. We don't appreciate it until they're gone. I think a couple of old songs out there with lyrics, you don't know what you got until it's gone. And Tim Millis and the Millis family and what they've done in Sneed's Ferry and the efforts down there. And their family had a tough, they've lost quite a couple. And Tim being the icon of the family. And then also, my dad worked in Onslow County and sales and advertising and radio stations, and I got to grow up and see a lot of people on the radio and being a part of athletics in Onslow County. And we lost Ken Hagan. Our thoughts and prayers go out to Ken Hagan and his family. He was instrumental in a lot of athletics and things in Jacksonville and Onslow County, served with the city, I believe, as the city manager. Just instrumental in a lot of things that took place in Jacksonville. And you've got to acknowledge when you lose folks that have committed so much time to service, because it's men like Tim Millis and Ken Hagan that take the mantle of leadership. When leadership is not about power and control, leadership is 100% about service. And these men, they serve their communities. And as long as we have people in Onslow County that continue to see their role as service, then we'll continue to be the community that grows exponentially. And we've got to figure out how to take care of intersections. We've got to figure out how to take care of other infrastructure things, but Onwassa a part of that. Russ reaching out the DOT, getting our team here to reach out the DOT, and I think Mr. Metcalf will be the one that will reach out the DOT and tell us what we need to do to support what was mentioned up here. So it's just a lot of work that goes in to make this a great place to live, work, raise a family, and learn. It's a lot going on in Onslow County. There's a reason that we're at 215,000 people and growing. And if anyone can tell me the name of the movie that this comes from, I've got nothing for you, but other than you used to watch movies in the 70s. There's one scene where, he says they will make over $20,000. And if you go back to that gentleman, Onslow County's at 215,000 people. They're coming because it's a great place. With that being said, we are going to need a motion to go into closed session at this time, and we thank everybody for being here. We have a motion from Commissioner Davis and a second from Commissioner Padgett. We are going into closed session. Thank y'all and have a great day.